This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey guys, and welcome to the third episode of the Mood Prep series. My name is Dave Nixon from the Human Movement, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about leaning into your resistance. And I'm going to start with a quote, and this quote is actually from my personal Instagram page. And what that's going to be talking about is, let me just turn this down. There we go. What that's going to be talking about, I suppose, when I say leaning into your resistance, is being completely aware about the things that we may want to do but may stop ourselves from doing it, and figuring out what is that weird feeling that stops us from doing that, and sort of uncovering that. So hopefully this will help to begin with. So, stop moving away from the hard shit, the resistance that will make you stronger. Push through it. The difficult conversation, the big daunting project, getting your life in order. Lean into your resistance. Doing so will strengthen your entire being. Shying away only makes us weak. Wake up every day to fight the good fight and speak your truth. Now, the whole idea of, fighting the good fight for me has been a bit of an interesting journey, if you want to call it that. It sounds like a wanky term, but it's true. Learning in relation to what is my resistance and what is my good fight. And I had to figure out the fact that if I treated every single day as an individual opportunity, that when I get up, I have my own type of resistance, which may be different to your resistance, that I have to move through every single day. And I have a choice with every single fucking action. I'm like, right, do I shy away from this resistance or do I move through it? And what I found is that every single time I moved through that resistance, I got a little bit stronger. I got a little bit better. Every single time, and this has happened multiple times, that I shied away from that resistance and I procrastinated, or maybe I did something that wasn't as important, or that didn't really make me come alive near as much as all the things that I really enjoyed and really wanted to do, right? And so by leaning into that resistance every single day, you think like you win that day. And if you win more days than you lose over a year, you move forward. Now, it doesn't mean like, some people say, oh, it's a bad day or it's one of those days. Sure, I get it. Those sorts of situations aren't fun, sure. But what are you going to do about that? And so as you lean into your resistance today, all I'm going to ask you is be really mindful of what things you're wanting to do, or maybe you're telling yourself you have to do it and you're not doing it. You're distracting yourself, or maybe you're on your phone, maybe you're on social media more than you should be. And that's a fucking interesting conversation in itself, right? So, firstly, pay attention to the things that you don't want to do, right? And think, why am I not doing that? Why am I there's this inner conflict. And there's a book called, and anyone watching this will see, The War of Art. And The War of Art is a good book. It's by Stephen Pressfield. I think he wrote it back in 2002. And it's actually about, effectively, the war that we have in ourselves with resistance compared to listening to what he calls the muse. And that war is like a battleground for our expression and our art. And so there's two things I'm going to share with you from this book, right? And I do recommend this book. He's got a series of a few books, actually. This is the first one, right? And it says here, resistance is fueled by fear. Resistance has no strength of its own. Every ounce of juice it possesses comes from us. We feed it with power by our fear of it. Master the fear and we conquer resistance. Right, page 16. Page 165. Creative work is not a selfish act or a bid for attention on the part of the actor. It's a gift to the world and every being in it. Don't cheat us of your contribution. Give us what you've got. And so today, what I'm going to ask of you, and what I want you to think about for yourself, is that as you move throughout the day, pay really close attention, really conscious attention to the things that you may be finding challenging or maybe finding difficult. And even though you want to do them, why are you stopping yourself, right? Maybe I can give you an example on this. So this podcast, for example, was a long time coming. Okay. And for a lot of the time, I mean, I've done podcasts before, but a lot of the time I always felt like I needed to get someone else with me, or maybe a business partner. Or I'm like, hey, we should do this project together. And after I did a bit of work with my coach, what I uncovered is that it's because I did not trust myself. That's where it came from. And it's like, fuck, well, where did that come from? And so there's all these questions. And when we get an answer, we don't judge it. It's just part of the story. And so we ask another question and we get an answer. Then we ask another question and we get an answer. And this is what I actually mean when I say that we should vigorously question ourselves, not doubt ourselves, but question ourselves, to really understand why we do what we do. And when we can do that, we start to see parts of our psyche we've never seen before. When we realize that maybe we don't do something we want to do out of fear of being liked, because if we did it, then people wouldn't like us. And think about that for a second. Think about the podcast here right now, is that I'm like, fuck. If I do that, maybe people will think it's stupid. Maybe people won't listen. Maybe people won't get anything from it. Maybe I'll be a fraud. Maybe this, maybe that. And what I end up doing, right? All those things are things outside of my control, right? They're things that are the potential thoughts of other people. So I stop myself from doing the things that I genuinely want to do based upon the potential thoughts of people that probably didn't like me in the first place, or was never going to buy anything. They were never going to say anything nice, and they probably just don't give a shit. And so stop with the noise, because that's often where the resistance comes from. Question yourself vigorously. Today, feel the resistance and question where it's coming from and why. Any questions, team? As always, please inbox me. I'm happy. I love it when last night you guys did it on Instagram when it was live anyway. And if you don't have me on Instagram, that's at ddnix. But that's it for today. Until tomorrow's mood prep. Peace and pizza. Hit life as big as you can.
Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.